This is the download from Sounds Profitable, the most important news from this week and why it matters to people in the business of podcasting. I'm Manuela Correa.
And I'm Shreya Sharma.
The download is brought to you by Podscribe. Find out more at podscribe.com. This Monday from Sarah Guaglione at DigiDay. Individual podcasts are no stranger to the annual South by Southwest mega conference in Austin, Texas. But the industry overall has yet to properly carve out its own place for the medium of podcasting. 2024 could be the year that changes. In addition to live show performances on Vox Media's podcast stage and iHeartMedia hosting this year's iHeartRadio Podcast Awards, Sounds Profitable will be hosting the Sound Summit. The day-long event will feature panels relating to the business of podcasting. A core goal of the summit is to establish a formal foothold for podcasting as an industry at South by Southwest. If all goes well this year, the intention is to demonstrate podcasting's power and justify a formal podcasting track at South by Southwest 2025. Here's a quote from our very own Brian Barletta on using Sound Summit to establish further momentum for the industry. We are working very, very hard to do right by podcasting and help claim the space Trojan-horse style by buying our way into these spaces. End quote. The Sound Summit will take place Saturday, March 9th at the Thompson Hotel.
This Monday from Pierre Bouvard at Cumulus Media. Radio and podcasting show they are powerful tools to getting business-to-business messages to decision makers. An important thing to consider about B2B marketing is that it doesn't create demand out of thin air. It gets a company's name out in hopes of it being known before they're needed. In a report focusing on the B2B side of audio, Bouvard points to some of the most successful AM/FM radio and podcast advertisers being B2B brands like Staples, Indeed, and ZipRecruiter. According to Magellan AI data tracking podcast ad spend, B2B brands have spent $182 million in the past 14 months, and podcasting proves to be a well-stocked pond for B2B. According to the Scarborough, USA Podcast Recontact study from 2023, 85% of AM/FM radio listeners surveyed were decision makers at their business. Podcasting brought in 38%. Narrowing down to decision makers who deal with purchases, Edison Podcast Metrics for Q4 2023 found 53% of weekly podcast listeners participate in purchase decisions at work. And to top it all off, 17% of weekly podcast listeners surveyed were business owners.
The impending death of third-party cookies and the viability of third-party data in podcasting is a mixed bag for advertising. Last week, Ryan Barwick of Marketing Brew covered the case of Criteo, an ad tech company that works on both the supply and demand sides of the industry with commercial and retail verticals. A recent earnings call signals they're not optimistic about solutions like Google's Privacy Sandbox acting as a cookie replacement, projecting an earnings impact due to signal loss of up to $40 million over the rest of the year. Podcasting, meanwhile, is primed to experience a boon, thanks to the industry's ability to contextually identify, target, and offer brand safety and suitability that is unparalleled. There has been a big push in podcasting for contextualization and brand safety and suitability, but they've yet to gain mass adoption. With the shift away from cookies, companies like Integral Ad Sciences and their competitors become examples. It's on podcasting to demand these capabilities be fully embraced and increase use across the board. Here's a quote from Christina Rubino, General Manager of Offline Practice at Right Side Up, on the death of cookies and how this impacts podcasting. Brands are being forced to get more creative in their measurement approach to get over and around cookies in a way that's very familiar to those already investing in audio and offline marketing. Brands who have been active in podcasting will continue to see strong performance, assuming they are running optimized campaigns. And brands who've dabbled or stayed on the sidelines may look to the medium to diversify their media mix once they start seeing diminished targeting accuracy, and as their measurement is more and more impacted by the coming changes. End quote. Another tool up podcasting sleeve is the adoption of video ad serving template tags. VAST, as a creative format, enables podcasting to replicate every aspect of what these tools offer in other mediums, with real-time, advertiser-controlled decisioning. Another tool up podcasting's sleeve is the adoption of video ad serving template tags. VAST, as a creative format, enables podcasting to replicate every aspect of what these tools offer in other mediums, with real-time, advertiser-controlled decisioning, which then pairs with the fact nearly every podcasting platform with dynamic ad insertion capabilities already support VAST tags directly or through programmatic, making it all the easier for publishers to enable. Podcasting is geared to thrive in the post-cookie future, having lived and grown without them already to this point. How other channels will fare remains to be seen.
This Tuesday from Brad Hill at Rain News. A new study from Veritonic and AI firm Real Eyes looks into how varying volume levels and complexity of audio ads affect attention. The Veritonic Audio Attention Report filmed survey participants to use Real Eyes facial recognition tech to track attention as respondents listened to 4 different ads. Each iteration of the ad changed the complexity and volume of different elements to gauge reactions to poor and high-quality production. For the ad with the least volume, 32% of respondents found it less likable than normalized volume levels. 36% of respondents had the highest attention quality with the version of the ad with the highest voiceover volume. Keeping an ad creative engaging but scaling back complexity and layered audio elements boosts the ad's power. A well-balanced normalized ad is doubly important in podcasting, an industry with years of experience with show content clashing with high-volume ads. Finally, it's time for our quick hits. These are articles that didn't quite make the cut for today's episode but are still worth including in your weekend reading. This week, Urban, Suburban, Rural Listening Differences. A new weekly insight from Edison Research focuses on the ratio difference between AM/FM and podcasting's share of daily listening time when broken down by environment. Spotify's $10 billion advertising ambition, with UK sales chief Ed Couchman by Ella Sager. Couchman shares Spotify's long-term goals for advertising, including $10 billion in ad revenue. Online advertising spend reaches $14.7 billion in CY23. IAB Australia publishes new data from 2023 showing online advertising is growing healthily down under.
And that was the download, brought to you by Sounds Profitable. I know we went through today's stories fast, so be sure to check out the links to every article mentioned, right in your podcast listening app or on soundsprofitable.com/podcast. And thank you for sticking with us as we bring you the top stories you might have missed from the past week. I'm Manuela Correa.
And I'm Shreya Sharma. Our producers are Brian Barletta, Gavin Gaddis, and Tom Webster. Special thanks to Spreaker for hosting the download. And thanks to you for joining us. Robot?
Download complete.